Let's go straight to it this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, from the last white, we now move to the proper Malabites. Today, I present to you Emmanuel, Action, Ogenekewe, Malabite, Efeni.
Good morning, Rufai.
Great to see you again.
I'm here.
You back, Mr.
Ayo, good morning. K. Kayode Akinjemi.
Good to see you back, my
I'm
brother.
back. I'm back. I'm back from this.
Yes, you bring back.
I'm back from Benin City. If you want to hear what I brought back, Obaseki is turning Edo State into the most e-governance service state.
Wow.
September 1.
See.
Paperless government. That's what they'll be
Yeah,
doing.
very wonderful one.
Over 7 million documents already archived for that.
Excellent.
So you say kudos to Godwin
But
Obaseki.
the most important thing is the implications of your visit.
Well, there are no implications. I'll be going back, don't worry. And I'll let you know. Now we start the review with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. Yes, let's start from above the masthead. Lagos Enugu governors jostle for investors at LCCI's Invest Nigeria Expo 2023. Someone who says state committed to being Nigeria's preferred investment destination. Mbawu's investors will pledge to grant CFO within 72 hours. De-risked investment environment. Of course, it's good to see the governors conversing for investment in their state. But there's a report also below the masthead of this day. Report: Lagos ranked 5th best African city to live, work. Yes, and that report puts, of course, Johannesburg, yes, Cape Town, South Africa, Cairo, Egypt, Johannesburg, South Africa, and of course, Casablanca in Morocco ahead of Lagos as preferred cities to work and live. And of course, Nairobi, 6th behind Lagos. Well, Lagos State has been doing a lot in terms of the big projects. In the next 1 week or thereabout, even next week, the blue line should be running. I don't know what's holding that blue line. But the big things they do in Lagos, but the small things making Lagos look like some cities you would not like to live in. And I'm sure the governor has to pay attention to those little things. Potholes everywhere. And of course, lawlessness on the road. Nobody enforcing the downfalls and the agberos having a field day on the streets. So perhaps by the time the government deals with all those little things that make Lagos look like a city not desired, then Lagos may just jump to #1 city to live and work in Africa. Of course, these 6 cities I mentioned made the top 100 list in the world. Now, the lead story of this day, NNPP Crisis deepens, Kwankwaso suspended, founder expelled. Well, it's like the little success this party that has been in existence for over 20 years achieved in the last general election is making those who are members of this party to think it is time to tear the party apart. But expulsion, suspension here and there, of course, all night and all morning. Both sides of the divide within the NNPP have been arguing who is in charge, who has the right to suspend, who has the right to expel. But I think this party should just put their act together because we need strong parties in this country so that we don't have a situation where we just restrict our choices to 1 or 2 parties. Now, I'll just move on to other newspapers. Of course, Blueprint newspaper also reporting the story, yes, ANPP soul at stake. Kwankwaso suspended, Boniface expelled. So, but let's look at other stories. The Punch newspaper. Fuel queues hit Lagos. Others as thieves vandalize pipelines. Marketers halt petrol loading, blame vandals for disruption. More filling stations shut as import hiccups hot supply. Well, we are not paying more for petrol. There's no more subsidy. We don't want to add scarcity to that mix, because Nigerians are already having a hard time. To add fuel scarcity to that mix will be one headache too much for the average Nigerian. But thieves vandalizing becoming a familiar story, but the security agencies must do their work and protect critical national assets, and those who are apprehended must be taken to court, prosecuted, and jailed, so that others who have the intention to steal by destroying pipelines will have a rethink. Now, the Nation newspaper reporting subsidy cut windfall. Government saves 1.83 trillion naira in 2 months. Savings to be used for projects. No more borrowing. Elumelu, government's bold decision in Nigeria's interest. Yes, we're saving so much, but the New Telegraph is reporting we are facing economic challenges. Arewa traders tell APC, as Bishop says, Nigerians are suffering food security. Tinubu will reduce price of fertilizer. Shetima, the vice president, is saying. Of course, below the photograph on the front page of New Telegraph is a story. It's an insult to beg federal government to release me, says Nnamdi Kanu. Well, but a number of citizens are appealing to the government to release Nnamdi Kanu. Perhaps that will bring some respite to the southeast, where there's still tension over IPOB and Eastern Security Network activities. Now, the Daily Trust newspaper, despite flood alert, states yet to evacuate citizens. Rice farms submerged in Taraba. Residents vacate homes. NIWA deploys boats for rescue operations. Build new locations for evacuation. Action aid tells government. Now, the Vanguard newspaper, how federal government can execute roadmap for economy. Nigerian Economic Summit Group and the organized private sector. Others are telling the government, ministers must set specific national targets. NESG. Strong coordination among ministries, critical NECA, nationwide security, precondition for success and Dory. So, of course, the conditions laid out there, and I'm sure the ministers and the new cabinet will take note of all this. Now, the Vanguard newspaper, CBN, BDCs on collision costs as FX black market premium widens. Naira loses 41% value as premium between dollar widens by 19%. Now, the foreign newspapers quickly will take the Guardian newspaper. Britain must take China human rights abuses seriously, says MPs. Of course, call for tougher stance, likely to embarrass Cleverly on Beijing trip. Of course, the Foreign Secretary of UK, Tom Cleverly, is due to land in China today. But some MPs are saying, you don't go and discuss trade, looking for business, without talking about the human rights abuses of China. And of course, China's behavior at home and abroad is a threat to world security that cannot be ignored. The MPs are telling the Foreign Secretary he must bring that to the table as he discusses with the Chinese officials. While the Financial Times is reporting Goldman Sachs bought UK and US companies using Chinese state funds. Of course, you cannot ignore China. Partnership fund set up in 2017 targets in critical sector. Deals defy West on ease over Beijing. Of course, one of those deals struck is using China's cash, include a company with cyber security businesses that provide security to the British government. Rufai, Ayo, and Mr. K.
At first, we'd like to welcome you especially back, and thank you so much for. We also want to say here that to a large extent, we've been looking forward to a possibility of where things will go digital. And we're happy about this new provision of paperless. At least it's going to be able to save cost. And it's also going to be able to save the environment, which is most importantly. But the sad reality is that the queues are back in Lagos and some other parts because of thieves and powders. Other things to watch. But I hear we need to go. Thank you so much for your time.